Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Global Talkative Series with your host, your man, Lanre Ajayi. Now, it's been quite a while that we have, this episode, and it's such an honor for me to, here with you once again to, bring you amazing content, and I can't wait to, take you right into today's discussion. And I have an amazing guest in the house this evening, and then let me just bring her in, and then we can continue our discussion. How you guys doing? Esther Fania Farm Joint. Thank you so much for joining. Send an invitation to our guest this evening that will be joining us, and get ready, to share your questions with us, and
Trust me, it's going to be amazing, awesome, most of the time. And our guest is going to be joining any moment from now. And get ready. Wow, amazing, amazing. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have the privilege and the honor to be speaking with one of the most amazing humans, I've come to meet. And, it's not just a friend, there's a friend that's particular than a brother, this is who this person is to me. And her name is Margaret Adekunle. It's a known name around the community, especially when it comes to issue of finances, credit, and immigrants, all of that. And she's advocate for, the immigrants who are coming especially to this city and to this nation of Canada. And like I did on this show, I will, want to give you a background information, a bit about our bio before we go into the question. Thank you for joining us, Shegolan. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you all guys joining us. So here comes the bio of Margaret. Margaret Adekunle is the founder and chief executive officer of CD Lending Center, a credit building solution company. Margaret has worked in the banking industry for 20 years, and her passion for progress and dedication to our community has been universally praised by friends and colleagues alike. I can testify to that. She has seen the struggles immigrants face and experienced them firsthand, driving her forward to take action and uplift our community so that nobody will have to endure such struggles alone. She founded Immigrants Inclusive Credit to tackle the complex struggles with systemic criticism and financial insecurities that immigrants are first to adapt to as they integrate into the Alberta ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our friend and my sister, Margaret Adekunle.
Hello, everyone.
How are you, Margaret?
I am good, and I'm happy to be here. I'm excited about the topic we're speaking about. Anytime we have to speak about the community, credit, and economy, I am excited. There's a lot of consumers, a lot of Black Canadians out there, a lot of immigrants that just don't know what they don't know. And it takes the like of myself and you to continue to educate and spread the gospel.
Yeah. I like the word gospel, meaning good news. Now, the word credit, let's start from that word credit. I remember my own personal story because I like to bring my show, and I like to bring a personal touch from lived experiences to what I do so that people can relate, because there's a lot of folks going through the same thing. When I came to Canada, back home in Africa, from Nigeria, we are not used to credit. We don't do credit. If you want to build a house or buy a house or buy a car or pay for whatever, you have your cash and you pay. Now, when I came to the system, my wife is used to that kind of life because she lives abroad for some time, but I've not lived abroad. So she said she just went for it. And I said, no, I'm not going to take credit card. I'm not interested. I will spend my money. I will use my money. But I heard that, no, you can't, because the system is different. You have to build something called credit history. So please, let's start on that note. Educate us. Why do we need to build credit history? For what purpose? To what end?
Canada is a credit-based society. We are wired that way. I don't know if you've heard about the culture of buy now, pay later. We're constantly encouraged to buy now, pay later for so many reasons.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we're constantly advised to do that. And the way the system is built, if you don't have credit facilities, it makes it a little bit challenging for you to acquire so many things. Capital is one of it. As a small business owner, if you're looking to scale up your business, you need access to capital. If you're looking to buy a house as an individual, you need credit. As a matter of fact, your credit needs to be thick enough, because there's often that saying in the banking world, if you're new to credit, you might not qualify for a few things, especially mortgages. They need your credit. They need your credit to be a minimum of 2 years before you can apply for things like mortgages. The reason is because they want to understand your pattern, your behavior as a consumer. Giving you anything over 100,000, for example, is a lot of money. And they need to understand through the little credit cards and the smaller credits that you get, that you're able to pay back. There are so many people that don't pay, or so many people that don't remember to pay. Which is going to be part of our conversations today. So credit in Canada is very, very important if you're going to get access to capital, if you're going to buy a house, if you're going to rent a car, if you're going to do so many things, you need credit. And you also have to maintain that credit history so that you're credit worthy.
That is amazing. Thank you very much. Now, while I was reading her bio, I said she started a credit building solution company called City Lenders. And we're going to be talking about that organization, why you start that organization. But before then, let's go into some of the questions that I want our audience to, get, tap into the knowledge, pool that you build over the years. And then maybe some folks somewhere, somehow will get a solution they have been looking for. So let's take a minute to talk about the culture of buy now, pay later and its impact on the Black and immigrant community. What is your take on this call? We've just been talking about it. What is your take on this? Because I remember I have a friend from Zimbabwe. When she came into Canada, she was like, wow. She called me Lanra. It said Lanra. I was like, I'm buying this, I'm buying that. And, you go to the store, buy this chair, pay, 6 months, buy a television, pay 1 year after, buy this, pay. And I was like, how do you buy a furniture and you're going to sit in that furniture for like a year and then start paying back? By that 1 year, there's a possibility that chair is already worn out. So the question is, what is this impact? Buy now, pay later. The impact on Black and immigrant community. What is your take on this cultural?
Here is what I found. Like it's ingrained in us, right? Those things are ingrained in us as Canadians. And with new immigrants coming in, you can imagine somebody coming from a cash-based society. You pay for everything yourself, like you said earlier. You didn't want to take credit card. And suddenly you come into a society where you're giving everything. Take it, pay later. A lot of people gravitate towards it automatically. And just like your friend from Zimbabwe, I've had friends, not friends, but I've had clients while working in the bank who take so many credit cards and they don't even pay back. A few people actually assume they don't have to pay back. So the culture of buy now later is there are two different types. There is the one you just described, where lots of people go to furniture stores, they buy things and pay later. Those ones, they are not reported to credit bureaus. Most of those ones are not reported to credit bureau. It's a mental payment. But if you miss a payment, you could be paying as high as 30% or more. And there's so many other fees that could be involved. With the buy now, pay later, with the credit card culture, that's where I see most of the danger. A lot of people are in so much credit card debt that it makes it difficult for them to get by monthly with their bills. Because this is the reality. A lot of Black Canadians are making, lesser than our counterparts. An average Black Canadian, according to Stats Canada, is making about a little over $26 to every $30.50 per hour that our counterparts, that are non-Black, making. And we're behaving the same way they behave. We have all the credit cards. Exactly. They are making more. It's very, very difficult for a lot of Black Canadians to get into management positions where they can earn more money. But we're behaving the same way they behave. We're getting lots of credit cards, lots of lines of credit. A lot of people can't even to work for a month, talk less of 2 months, because of the level of debt that they have. So the culture of buy now, later is very, very dangerous, challenging, and is growing rapidly within our community. We really need out there and begin to educate people. We need to start talking to people about their budget. It doesn't matter how long it will take you to pay. You still have to pay back. And when you're paying back into your monthly budgets, so what do you do at that point? You're not making more. You're making the same money you've been making all this while. Now you have to make more payments than what you're already paying, and your income is the same. So the culture of buy now, pay later is a very, very dangerous culture that we need to warn our people about.
So what you're saying essentially is that you wouldn't encourage it, even though if someone has like a steady job, but they want to acquire some things and they find it convenient. So is it totally wrong that we should discard totally, or is it something that we can manage?
It's manageable. There are good debt and there are bad debts, right? There are some good ones and there are some bad ones. It's manageable, but it has to do with budgets. You have to make sure, a lot of us have to make sure that we're not spending more than between 32, excuse me, between 2 to 40% of our income on debt payment. If you're making $2,000 per month or $3,000 per month, calculate how much 40% of that is at a max. That means that's the maximum you should be spending on debt, including your utilities, car loans. The moment you're hitting 50%, keep in mind that we're talking about after-tax income. A lot of people focus on their before-tax income. So it's not necessarily that, it's not that they can't take that. You can take those credit cards, you can use it. That's why they are there. However, you have to plan accordingly. You have to make sure that you're budgeting properly. Otherwise, it's very, very easy to get in trouble. I met a lot of people when I was working in the bank. Doctors, lawyers, professionals that won't qualify for anything else because of their debt ratio. There are people with credit scores of over 700 that can't qualify for anything because of their debt ratio. There are people with very high income that can't qualify for anything because of their debt level. So what we want is not for people you have to build credit. At the same time, it's important that you do it wisely. And that's why City Lending Centers decided to go with a secured credit card. That's why we're offering people secure credit card rather than the regular credit card. With secure credit card, you're spending your own money. What's the worst that can happen? If something happens, you're not able to pay, you lost your job or whatnot, we can take the security we have. We can use that security to pay out the balance, and you can start all over again once you get your footing back.
Thank you very much.
Credit is important. They just have to budget.
Thank you very much for that. We're still on the Global Talkative series with Margaret Adekunle, the CEO of City Lenders. Now, while you were talking, you mentioned some points which I want us to talk about, to explain more to our audience. You mentioned bad credit, good credit. You mentioned credit ratio, and you mentioned secure credit card. So let's start with the first two. What is a bad credit? What is a good credit?
Okay, so good credit is your mortgage, for example, right? You have a mortgage, the credit facility. You're paying for it. The property is appreciated, right? And eventually you're going to make money from it.
Okay.
There are people that will use credit card for everything. There are people that are currently probably using credit cards to pay their bills. There are people that are taking credit card, and I will use a few Africans as an example. A few people will take money from their credit cards and lines of credit to go do projects in Nigeria. Sometimes that money comes back, sometimes it doesn't come back. I've met few people, very ambitious people, that gets lines of credit in the bank, go do a project, it goes AWOL, or for some reason, I don't know. I've seen people that will take the money for chieftaincy titles in Nigeria, right? I would never encourage something like that. That I would consider as a bad debt. If you decide, I will tell you about a particular customer that I hold close to my heart. He was like a junior brother to me. We were planning to buy him a house, and he went to buy what do you call this electric car? He went to buy an electric car that cost about $80,000 a year.
That's a Tesla.
This person works at a retail store, right? He works at a retail store. By the time he realizes, he didn't tell me because he knows I will probably say no. But according to this person, he had gone there to check out the car. And a salesperson talked him into taking the car and buying the car. Wow. The moment he drove the car out, he realizes that his monthly payments will be over $800. He has not bought a house. He's making about $40,000 a year. How do you make $40,000 a year and you're buying a car of about $80,000 or at least over $80,000? That I consider a bad debt. And those kind of cars, their interest rates they're usually high. They spread it out over maybe 7 years, so that person can maintain the payment.
Yeah.
That means they will pay way more.
Oh.
The question is, why will anyone subject themselves to that? Right? You don't have enough. So by the time we're ready to buy a property for this individual, we were struggling. It's impossible, practically impossible. Your debt ratio is already at 100%. You're making $40,000 a year. You already have a car of exactly
worth more.
Exactly. And I tell you, this was somebody who was very, very prudent. So it could happen to the best of people. Good people make bad decisions sometimes. I mean, in learning centers, we're still able to help that individual, but it was a lot of struggle. That's a bad debt. That's a bad debt. Exactly. Mortgages, good debt. There are few. If you get a business loan, right, you're investing in your future. If you get a loan to go to school, student loan, you're investing in the future. There are some student loans that are bad debt too. I've seen a lot of immigrants come into the country and they immediately start going to school, get student loan, then they drop out because they're not sure they want to do those courses or they wanted to pursue particular things. I've seen a lot while working in the bank. And these are not least to student loans, right? With student loan, they give you a lot of money, especially when you have kids. Some of those people end up not going to the school. Now they have the student loan. They don't have a home yet. We want to have this kind of conversations to educate the Black community, to educate the immigrant community. City Lending Centers is not just for people with bad credit. We have credit building solutions for everyone. You come to us, it doesn't matter what you want to do. We check your credits, we make a plan as to how you continue to maintain it. We also make sure that your debt ratios don't rise. If somebody is planning to buy a house in maybe 6 months, because we do mortgages and we're real estate agents too. Somebody's planning to buy a house in 6 months. We start the process now. We look at your credit. We tell you what we need to do in order to get your credit from point A to point B so that you can negotiate and go to different banks to get better interest rate. Because you have negotiating power if your credit score is higher. And if the person has a little bit of debt, we work towards paying off some of those debt so that they will qualify when they needed to. So it's a full package offering for the Black community. You don't have to be in trouble to come to us. Our secure credit cards is the icing on the cake, but we provide a lot of financial services that are beneficial to the community.
That is amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Still on the Global Talk series with Margaret Adekunle, the CEO and founder of credit credit card company called City Lenders. And I was going to be talking to you, and you just answering, I was going to talk to you about why do you start this organization? What pushed you to start this? You know, City Lender. You know, having acquired, you know, so much experience, you know, why do you decide to start at this moment? What pushed you? What motivates you to go ahead and do this? Is it from experience or what you've seen or a cry for help or just want to, you know, provide solutions to people, especially immigrants?
I'm a community-driven person. I love my community. I love everything that has to do with my community. And I'm also a diversity and inclusion advocate and strategist. I'm a big proponent of equality and equity. While working in the bank, there was a lot of lending practices that don't favor immigrants or Black Canadians. Keep in mind that a lot of the systems and policies in the banks were already there before we came.
Yeah.
Those policies were made for the white folks because we were not here at the time. Now that lots of immigrants are here and lots of Black Canadians, more Black Canadians are here, those policies are still the same. There's a lot of discriminatory lending practices that I also see. For a new immigrant to come into the country, someone that was at the peak of their career, come into the country and they immediately find a job of maybe 70,000 and they still can't buy a house. And the only reason they can't buy the house is because you come to the bank, we tell you your credit is too thin. We need your credit history to be a minimum of 2 years.
Wow.
Now tell me how somebody just come into the country, why do they need to wait for 2 years before they could acquire a property? Right? If they are 1,000 a month or 1,005 a month to a landlord, let's say 1,000 for the sake of easy maths, 1,000 a month, that's already 12,000 a year that they could have already kept into their own property. But in the banking world, we're telling them to wait a little bit, give us some time. We want to watch you a little bit more. We don't trust you immediately. Regardless, despite the fact that you have a good income and you've built some level of credit, even the rent you're paying is a way to show that you're paying, your behavior is good. Things like that gets to me. Anytime I meet a Black Canadian, walk into the bank, apply for a loan, and they don't qualify for various reasons, it gets to me. There's so many battles, so many fights that I fought while in the bank because of situations like that, because it doesn't make sense to me. It wouldn't make sense to me if you come to the bank, Lanre, and you're looking to get a loan. I believe in your business. I believe in what you do. But you could easily walk into a bank to ask for a business loan to upscale your business and not qualify. But I can also tell you another guy, a white Canadian who owns a construction company, could easily take his son to the bank and that son could get a loan. There is a little bit of relationship. There is a little bit of trust and relationship when it comes to certain people. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the bank automatically wants to discriminate. I'm not saying that. At the same time, there are some lending practices that don't work with And that's why we started City Lending Centers. That's why we started City Lending. I've met a few new immigrants with a lot of that. You were talking about your friend earlier. She doesn't know what she doesn't know. When she went to the bank and she got all those credit cards, did somebody sit her down to explain to her? And somebody explained to her what would happen if she doesn't pay on time? Did somebody explain to her what will happen to her credit if she continues with the habit of buy now, pay later? Most of the financial advisors you see in the banks are salespeople. Their job is to give you those products. They are not credit experts. A lot of them don't even understand in how credit really works. Is they put your credit, they get a credit score. If it meets the level, the acceptable level, they continue with the process. They don't necessarily sit back to break it down and explain. At City Lending Centers, we will be doing that. We will sit people down. We have educational materials. We have software. We have a software that will be analyzing consumers' behavior. That software, we also send an email to customers every month to let them know about what they did last month. because you did XYZ,
Yeah.
credit score might reduce by 2% or 3%. However, if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, your credit score will go up. So I started City Lending Centers because of the community. I wanted to make sure that people will be better empowered. People will have better opportunities to be educated. I also want to make sure that people are not getting into unnecessary debt. Our credit card has a credit limit between $300 to $25,000.
Yeah.
If you have the money to spend, the whole idea is to be, like you said earlier, you don't want to use credit anymore, right? You want to make sure that you're using your own money. At the same time, you'll be caught in the dilemma of having to build credit. You have to build credit. That makes City Lending Center's credit card ideal for someone like yourself or any other person with that mindset. Because it's your money. You're putting your money in the card. You're determining what your credit limit will be. And you have 21 days grace period. If you use it and you pay before 21 days, you're not paying any interest rate.
All right.
Right?
Even though it's your money.
Secure credit cards also have their own interest rates. Absolutely. It's the same thing with the credit cards they have in the bank. It's with the interest rate that will pay all the operational fees that needs to be paid. We have to report to credit bureau. We have to send you statements. That's what those interest rates are for. It's the exact same thing as the bank. The only difference is that if you happen to cancel the card, your money is there to pay off what your balance is.
All right.
But most importantly, you're not owing. You're not owing the bank.
All right.
Plus, we have financial advisors that will also hold your hands through every process and every step. I think that's the icing on the cake. Most of the time when you go to the bank and you apply for something, it's a sale, right? It's a sale for the personal banker dealing with you. Right? They sell you the product, you take your things, you go. I mean, the only time they will keep calling you is if you have money in your bank account and they want to invest that money. Or maybe you automatically, maybe you automatically approved for a credit facility, then they call you. Go ahead.
Now, still on that thought about the credit card. Someone was talking to me. They have this non-profit organization and they want to apply for a credit card. And then the bank told them that, okay, we're going to put your money in a GIC credit card. Now, the question the person is asking is that secure credit card and putting your money in GIC credit card, what is the difference between the two?
That's exactly what it is. So the security that you're giving them, they are putting that in a GIC to hold the money.
What is a GIC?
It's a guaranteed investment certificate.
Okay.
It's very close to a savings account. The interest rates are extremely low. They are very, very low. Excuse me. And we're launching in February. We're launching something at City Lending Center, which is like a peer-to-peer lending community, where instead of you put your money in GIC and get less than 1%, I can say maybe I know somebody called James, another black member, another black Canadian. James needs maybe $2,000 till 2 months time. Then I will come to you. You hold on to your money. I'll come to you and I'll say, by the way, James needs this amount. Excuse me.
Sorry about that.
James doesn't know who you are, but you will know. You will have data on James. Then we borrow your money to James through, of course, it's all facilitated through a lawyer.
All right.
James will be paying you between 5 to 10%.
Okay.
We're going to be launching that in February for City Lending Centers. You keep your own money. Again, I brought that up because you're talking about GIC.
Yes. So
GICs and account don't give you anything in interest rate.
Okay. So with your secure credit card, it's different from, because GIC, when the person was explaining to me, said they're going to pull the money from your checking account and put in that GIC account. But with your secure credit card, what is the process? Do I have to open an account with your organization and fund the account to get money into that secure credit card? How does it work?
So we have a trust account. The trust account, we don't have, that particular account we don't have access to. We have a credit card vendor that manufactures our credit card. So we have a corporate account with that vendor. And then we have two different corporate accounts. One is a trust account. And you know, with trust accounts are audited. The trust accounts, we cannot take money out of. We can only put money in. So when you come to us for your credit card, we give you where to put the money into. The money automatically goes into that trust account and sits there.
All right.
As long as you have the credit. Until you cancel the credit card, then the vendor themselves, not us, will send you the money.
And with that, you can begin also build history, your credit history.
The secure credit card is like every other secret credit card, the same as the credit cards in the bank. The only difference is that you're securing it the same way with the bank. When they are telling you or telling your friend that they have to put security, it's the exact same thing that we have. And if you're going to take it to the bank, if you're going to take it to the bank, why not with us? Right? This is called economic empowerment, where we're talking about community and the economy. Black Canadians, we need to begin to support each other and support our businesses. Nobody for us. Right? There's a lot of gap, a lot of wide gap between us and our counterparts. So we need to get to a point where a lot of Black Canadians right now dealing with Capital One, Home Trust, because they are doing the exact same thing that we do. They have secure credit cards. They should come and start working with us rather than those organizations. And that's the only way we're gonna grow.
That is cool. And we're going to be calling out people to do that on this show tonight. Now, I have like three questions before we end today's show, and then we're going to be talking about how the process is and how fast to do that. Now, the question is, what is a credit danger zone, and how is this affecting the Black community? Credit danger zone.
See, credit danger zone is similar to a financial danger zone. Right? Financial danger zone is when you actually get to a stage where you have no money. You're practically struggling to pay your bills every month. And there's a lot of Black Canadians in that category. A lot of Black Canadian. Stats Canada did a survey recently that I wrote down. 32% of Black Canadian right now, according to Stats Canada, said they're finding it difficult to meet up with their day-to-day financial obligations. Part of the reason for that one is because of the pandemic. Some people lost their job. And another reason to it is because a lot of people have low-paying jobs. We have a lot of well-educated Black Canadians in low-paying jobs. And we'll talk about that later when we talk about the economy. But with credit danger zone, you will know you're in a credit danger zone when all your credit cards are maxed out. You have credit facilities that are completely maxed out. Or you're at a point where your credit card, you're calling the bank for an increase of your credit card so that you can spend money. Then you know you're in a danger zone. Please don't wait. The moment that you find yourself using over 50% of your credit card limit, you want to call City Lending Centers so that we can help you get out of it. Because it's more difficult to get you to fix it. It's easier to help you stop the bleeding than fix it later. Because we do that as well. We have debt management options and things like that. So credit danger zone is the moment that your credit facilities are maxed out and you're looking for more credit. And the only reason you'll be doing that is because you're already in a financial danger zone, right? You're in a financial danger zone, you can't afford to pay your bills anymore. That leads to the credit danger zone. It works hand in hand. Because if you have the money in the first place, you will not be using as many credit as you're using.
Absolutely.
Right? But believe it or not, I saw this a lot in the bank. There's so many people out there paying their bills or supplementing their bills with their credit facilities. You will be surprised. a lot of people are doing it?
Of course, because it's easier to spend money. Money just come by. It's easier to spend money, especially if you're not the culture type that you go to the mall, you can't take your eyes off. You see this, you're gonna get this. Recently, I was watching a program on BBC, and this is a system that is really, really taking root in Europe. We have the organization called China or something. They're from Switzerland, whereby when you buy stuff, buy things online, they can now ask you, you can spread the payment. It's like, I don't know, it's not really, really so much here in Canada, but I was just watching the BBC like just this week, and there are about like 6, 7 companies like that people are buying groceries, food stuff, and they have to spread payment for like 1 month, the food you're going to eat. And I kept on wondering that why would people keep on buying something that you can't afford? Because while I was following the story, it got to a point whereby they said if you default, they will take it to they will report it to credit bureau or something. And these are the ways in which the financial system is being programmed, and it's been a major issue for immigrants who are coming in, like I said at the beginning of the show, who had no idea. So for newly immigrants who are just coming into the system, what we advise them, like someone posted that they had that same issue, they wanted to buy a house. I had the same thing. When I was going to get our house, I wasn't working because I'm a crazy person. I do my business back home, and I came here, I started making painting and works of art and all of that. And it's so interesting that people still get to ask for Canadian experience. For example, I sing, I dance, I paint. Now you're asking me for Canadian experience as a painter. You can see paint behind my back. So the ideas and the knowledge that I have, I paint, I'm an artist. So do I need a special experience to be a better painter in Canada? That's another topic entirely. But for those who are just coming in, who are not in this kind of industry, who are in a different industry, what we advise them, because we couldn't get a house for the first, I think it took us over a year or two. And I remember that we were paying $1,500 for mortgage rent. And in like 2 years, we paid almost $40,000, which of course we could have probably, get some advice to know how to buy a house by then. So what advice will you give to newly immigrants that are just coming in? How can will you be able to help them? Your organization help them, getting a good job or having some financial stability to get, they don't have to wait for 2 years. What will you do? What will you advise them to do?
Please don't wait for 2 years. That's why I left the bank to start City Lending Centers. I have 20 years experience in the banking industry, and I was a mortgage broker at one point for 2 years. And I still have access. My husband is a full-blown mortgage broker, and he's a realtor. So we have access to all the different banks and smaller mortgage companies. We have access to their terms. So there is no more such thing. There's a solution for everybody, customized solutions for everybody. If you're just coming in, give us a call. Let's look at your situation and find you the right solution. Even if it's a short-time solution, for example, where we could get you a 6 month to a year mortgage, where we prepare you, but at least it's your property and that money is coming to you, right? You're not paying rent and just giving somebody $40,000. We can find you a short-term solution to own that property, paying your own mortgage, and then prepare you financially and with your credit to be ready to go to the bank maybe in a year or in 2 years' time. And that's what I was telling you about that credit, about that lending discrimination part.
Yeah.
Wait for 2 years while you're paying rent. That's a behavior you're exhibiting. You're showing that you're able to make your payments consistently. So why would you buy a house? You're a painter. You're somebody who has a lot of experience. You're trying to find a job, get into the industry, and you're being asked for Canadian experience. All those are just forms of discrimination that needs to be eliminated. And it's with this kind of conversations, constant conversations that will help us eliminate some of those biases, because it doesn't make sense. And, and I can understand with professionals such as a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah.
But a banker coming from Nigeria or from any African countries or any other country to Canada, being asked for Canadian experience is the bank. We do the same thing all over. All you have to do is come in and learn the policies and procedures and the system.
That is what I thought. That kind of environment, because we're working in the banking. I have friends who have worked for like 10, 15 years in the banking industry. You know, we also become a manager, and you're coming to the Canadian industry in your system, and then they're asking for Canadian experience on how to do some system of banking operations, which already you practice. So those are the challenges that I like. How do you go about navigating that?
It's just mere discrimination. When you were introducing me earlier, you talked about our foundation, Immigrant Inclusive Credit. Immigrant Inclusive Credit help immigrants with situations like that. I had an immigrant who came to the country. It was a struggle for him to even get an interview. When he finally got an interview, and he's actually in Calgary, got an interview, and then they asked him for reference. Obviously, they were going to give him the job. After providing them reference from his country, legit references from his country, and 2 from here, character reference from here. The person went on to ask him if he has any body that can be his reference who is white.
Why?
And the person reached out to us, inclusive, right? And we got involved. We got involved because we wanted to understand why you would need a white person to be his reference. It's discrimination. That is not unconscious bias. That is a conscious bias.
Yeah.
It's discrimination. I'm a Canadian certified inclusion professional. And at Immigrant Inclusive Credit, we help a lot of immigrants and Black Canadians with discrimination issues, workplace issues, and anything that has to do with diversity and inclusion. If you're an immigrant and you're listening to us, please reach out to us. We will take up your case. And we have lawyers. We have lawyers too that are working with us, employment lawyers and human rights lawyers that are also helping with situations like that. So I see things like that as pure discrimination. That is absolutely no reason why. And it makes sense. I mean, some people want to know that you have a background in certain jobs or certain careers. But as a manager, which I was a branch manager for 11 years, it didn't matter to me. I would develop you. It takes patience. A lot of these people are not just patient. Somebody called me today. She was almost crying. They relocated to Canada 3 years ago, and they landed in Newfoundland. She said she went through a horrific experience where her health was impacted because each time she says anything, they say she's aggressive. Each time she says anything, they say she's too confrontational. Whenever she says something, they say she's negative. Keep in mind, for a lot of immigrants, especially us Nigerians, we're very outspoken. We say it as it comes to our mind, right? This particular lady ended up leaving that job because her mental health was impacted. She couldn't sleep, she couldn't do anything. It was from one coaching session to another. And the only reason they do things like that is because they're ready to get rid of you. Before it gets to a point where you're going from one coaching session to another, or you're being placed on a performance improvement plan, call us as Immigrant Inclusive Credit. We have plans and solutions to help you out.
That is amazing. Now, today we're actually talking about lenders, basically about credit, about economy and community. You know, for fine time to talk about the issue of diversity, inclusivity, and all sort of racial discrimination at a later time. Now, before we go, walk up to the process of someone coming to get that secure credit card with City Lenders. Walk up to the ABC process of getting it. How long will it take? Days, weeks, or what are the things they need, or I need to get that credit card?
Our secure credit card, like I said earlier, is the same thing as every other credit card in the bank. All you have to do is go to our website, www.citylending.ca. You go to the page, the secure credit card page, and you click on apply. Once you click on apply, it takes you through the application process. And once the application process is completed, it takes 10 business days for you to get your customized card with your name on it.
How many days? How many days?
10 business days, the same as
10,
the bank.
okay.
10 business days, you get the card and you start using it, spending your own money, and you're not in debt. Most importantly, you'll be supporting a Black organization. So please, if you are a Black Canadian, white Canadian out there, and you want to support us, you feel free to go to our website and apply for our credit card. Also, keep in mind, we don't only do credit cards. We're realtors and mortgage brokers, and we have credit building solutions. If you also find yourself in debt, we have debt management options as well. If you're looking to apply for consumer proposals or bankruptcy, we have those solutions as well. But our flagship product is a secure credit card.
That is amazing. And then you were saying that in the next few weeks or months, you won't, unveil new products. Quickly, just to refresh our memory, walk us through those ones before we end today's discussion.
It's peer-to-peer lending. Peer-to-peer lending. It's someone like maybe Anu Adedire calling me. She's an amazing little sister of mine, calling me to say, oh, I need maybe $5,000 for my business. And then I know that you have $5,000 to lend. I connect you and Anu. So City Lending Center is a middleman. We facilitate the process. We don't take your money directly from you. You keep your own money until we're ready to give it to Anu. Then we can send that money to Anu when it's time. And we go through this process through the lawyer. So we don't touch your money at all. And but you'll be getting your payments constantly through City Lending Centers, because we don't want Anu to know who you are. So she doesn't come to her, Larry, I'm so sorry, I don't have money to pay this month. No, there will be no such thing.
Sort of, you are like the middleman between the lender and the what do you call the other person? You have the lender and
the lender and the borrower.
Borrower, yeah. That makes it actually, because that's one of the challenges that we see in the community, where people start giving excuses. I'm so sorry, something came up, I couldn't, pay back, something, school fees here and there. But, having your organization in the middle, brings that credibility, and peace of mind to the lender.
Yeah, we're bridging the gap. We're taking on the risk. We're taking on the risk for you as as the lender.
Okay.
Right.
Now, before we go, do you have any solution for students who are coming into the country, or they are immigrants, they've been here for some time? Do you have any sort of solution for, student loan or credit card? What kind of solution do you have for students?
So students can apply for a secured credit card. There's some students that are not able to get credit cards at the bank. But as long as you're 18 years old, you need to start building your credit. So our secure credit card has a guaranteed approval. Your approval is guaranteed as long as you live in Canada and you're 18 years old. So as a student, you will be approved. All we need is just your identification to make sure that you live here. And we don't even check credit. We don't pull your credit either.
Oh, so for those who want to get that secure credit card, you don't have to go through that process of, okay, let's check your credit history. If you have this, you have that. So what happens if someone has a bad credit? How do you help that person to get a secure credit card?
Our credit cards will help you rebuild your credit history. That's why we say it's guaranteed. The approvals are guaranteed. You will be approved. Bad credit, somebody who is still in consumer proposal, or bankruptcy, you will be approved for City Lending Center's credit card. Don't forget, we designed the credit card for the Black community. Again, it's open to everybody to apply. But based on what I see our community go through, it's why the credit card is designed. So it doesn't matter if you have bad credit, your credit is bruised, you've been through a process where you had to fight for bankruptcy. Life happens and we understand. You will be approved for City Lending Center's credit card.
That is amazing. Thank you very much for your time today. It's been an amazing time, talking with Margaret Adekunle, the founder and chief executive officer of City Lending Centers. They handle not just only secure credit cards, you know, advice on how to go about your mortgage for first-time home buyers, for those who are probably in debt and they will need to, you know, get out of debt. You know, this is a good place to go to. I can see Bishop Magazine, the publisher of Bishop Magazine, Alex O, joining this conversation. Thank you very much, Alex. You know, for your magazine, I recommend you to go meet city lenders, you know, to get a credit card that can help you, you know, to scale up the magazine. And for so many that are joining us on this show, thank you so much for your time. And I'm saying this that let's support one another. Let's build, you know, one another up. You know, it takes a village to raise a child. So, you know, the success of this organization is our success. You know, when a person wins in a community, the win is for all because we're making us proud. We're making everybody proud. And what better way to do that by supporting one another? You know, when you want to go far, they said, you know, there's a way to say that if you want to go far, go with people. Don't just, you know, go alone. You know, you need people advices. There's a proverb that I love to quote that the wisdom of others makes someone a wise person. Now let's come together. There's a word they use, agbajowo. Like let's come together and support one another.
Collaboration.
Yes, collaboration. If there's a big load on the ground and you can't lift it up, it is easier when people join you and lift it up. And that is why I'm calling you Canadians, Africans, Caribbeans, and whatever ethnicity you have, well, from where you're coming from, you know, city lender services are available at your fingertips. Just go online and type in, what is the website again?
www.citylending.ca. You can also follow us on IG. On IG, look us up. It's at City Lending Centers on IG. To follow our page. And if you want our website, www.citylending.ca.
Citylending.ca. Thank you very much, Margaret, for your time today. And it's a wrap for me on the Global Talkative series. Very soon, we're going to have another amazing guest, you know, that will come on this show. Thank you very much and have a wonderful Christmas. It's just a few days to come, and it's bye from me and bye from Margaret.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.